Got money on my mind, I swear I'm gonna win, even if it kills me. I got money on my mind, the only way I'm gonna rest is if these motherfuckers kill me. I got money on my mind.
Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're just going to be going over a quick video, as I've done many videos regarding the M52 reliability, the E60 and M52 top 30 things. Today I'm just going to be going over the actual E60 reliability. So this is just going to concern the body of the E60. It's not going to be specific to an engine and the car, or just the engine. It's just going to be about the body, because most people who buy these cars buy them in all different variants, diesel, petrol, and I suppose they want to know bits about the body as well as just the engine. If they already know about the engine side, they may be missing stuff that they don't know on the body side of things. So let's go over the body of the car, and we're going to be doing today the E60 reliability video of 2019. So as you'll see right here, the E60 has a very modern style body, as many of you all know, which is still modern to this day and age. So that being said, parts can still be quite expensive because these cars are still highly sought after, and because of that reason, you know, people are still charging a fortune just for body parts on this car. So if we go over just, for instance, the MV2 alloys, them alone are still running about £500, £600. Now these are genuine ones, these are not copies as you can buy replicas, but if you was to get the Spider alloys, genuine ones as well, they're about £1,500 to £1,600 just for the rims. And in this condition, the way mine are, I could easily get 800 quid for these with the tyres on as well, £800–900. These are still quite expensive for this car, and obviously, as you guys know, these tyres and the rims, they run on the E46 as well, the E39 you can put them on. They're running quite a few cars, so a lot of they're very highly sought after, especially for people who's trying to restore these cars back to its original self if someone's put other different rims on it and they want it to go back to factory. The next one on the body trim that you're going to want to care about is the mirror covers. Now when I bought my E60, the mirror covers were all faded, and I had to try and find and source them, bearing in mind my car is carbon black. It's not, like I say, it's a very two-tone colour. It's blue during the sunlight and black at night. You know, these mirror covers were not easy to source. I ended up sourcing them from BMW direct. They worked out at £65 each just for the cover itself, and that's both of them because they'd faded from sitting in the sun. It is a common problem. It's something you have to be aware of on these. Like I say, they're not cheap, and if you do find them cheap, they won't be painted properly and they probably won't match your car colour. The next one on these, as I spoke to you about previously and quite a lot, is the headlights itself. They like to get condensation in. Now over the years, it's going to be common. As you'll probably see here, all the stone chips, you're going to expect this from any kind of BMW, because you've got to understand, when they're leased, they're mostly leased on the first year of when they come out for 3 years. Obviously people like us can't afford them at the price that BMW want, and they're used on the motorway a lot. This is what people usually buy them for, driving in comfort up the motorway to go to their businesses and doing a lot of miles up and down. So, you know, they've picked up a lot of stone chips over the years, and as you'll see, stone chips hit the headlight lens itself and end up causing condensation inside the eyebrow. Some of the lenses might be faded now, as you've probably seen on my other videos as well, my E61, where the whole headlight is actually faded, and you know, it's got all condensation all in here, and you need to buff it out to bring it back up. You saw on the 535 diesel was the same thing as well. It's something you have to be aware of a car at this age. You know, this is 2006, so we're talking nearly 14 years old. You know, the car is, so you're gonna expect marks if you're going a car this old. I mean, even at 07, 10, you're still gonna expect all the stone chips like you're seeing all over here and all over the bumper, but it's not something major. You can get stone chip repair, or you can take the bumper off and get it fully resprayed, but it's something you're gonna be expecting when you come to buy one of these cars, regardless of the year. If it's got high mileage, definitely expect stone chips everywhere, because it's gonna be a common problem, because of the fact of people use these mostly on motorway, especially on the diesels. They use them because they're traveling far and they want to save on fuel costs. So it's something you have to be careful about when buying. Don't think it's something bad seeing stone chips on these cars. It's something that's going to be basically on the norm. It's nothing different. You know, these parts are not expensive. You can respray it yourself if you're good and you've got a good body shop. Also, the grills down there, as we spoke about, they like to end up missing. People go over potholes, or garages take them off to access something and end up losing them. They're not hard to get. They're quite cheap. They're like £15 a piece. You can change the grill to chrome as well. It's not hard, but again, be careful, because like I say, if they're missing, it usually means that it's either been crashed or hit too hard on a bump, so be wary of that. Obviously you want to make sure as well when you come to view these that obviously the tow hook cover's in place. I remember the last owner that had it, this tow hook cover weren't in place, someone's put that on. And obviously the washer jet covers, which this doesn't have washer jets because it doesn't have the xenons. If it does, make sure they're all fully functional as well on the bumper, because they can be a pig to, you have to take the bumper off to get to them, or the cover off, and the cover ends up snapping when you take up the washer jet. As you guys know, when you buy these bumpers or you get these M1s, especially in M Sport or even SE, they all come with the parking sensors, which rams up the price as well. When you end up buying a new bumper, they don't give you the parking sensors with it, which is a big downfall, because the parking sensors are quite expensive. It's something you want to replace before, if you're going to replace the bumper, to put new parking sensors in before you pull it on, because they'll fail after and you'll just have to either take it back out or get around them all other ways, and it's just not worth it. It's better to replace all four. You can get them for £30 each. BMW want £160 each one. It's not worth it, but you know, you can get away with it. Putting cheap ones in and letting them work for now, at least you know they work for a few months. Next one is the fog lights. As you know from stone chips, these like to get, same as on the E39, E46, they crack here from stone chips hitting them. The E60s ain't really prone to that. It's mostly an E39, E46 thing. These ones actually are better shielded and they got a better bubble. They don't usually crack. If they are cracked, it's usually due to people hitting them or doing something really wrong, because these, in all the time I've owned an E60, I ain't really seen fog lights cracked. And that being said, I'll show you the other one. It's the same thing as well. They're not cracked at all. They've got a few scars on them, battle scars from stone chips, but they're actually quite solid and they don't usually damage. The next one you want to make sure as well, these will probably be all faded. Your side repeaters, they're quite faded. They're clear ones, but you can buy new ones to put on. They just come off and put new ones on. These will always be faded from rainwater, from sitting in the rain. There can be an MOT failure if they're badly worn, so be careful of that as well. The next one you want to be checking as well is obviously on the rear bumper here. Now the rear bumper is quite expensive on the 60s, as a lot of you guys will know, and it's prone to getting scratches on it where people slide stuff in the boot a lot and do a lot of things where putting things inside the boot. So be aware of that as well, that it will end up being scratched and probably damaged all at the top here. You can buff it out and just polish it up if need be. Use a clay bar, use the Maguire's polisher, as you've seen me use many times. And that goes for the same for the rear bumper. As you see here, this has got the diffuser right here, and it's an M Sport one as well, with all the parking sensors all round. These bumpers are quite expensive, and breakers and everybody always charge a fortune for the rear bumper, and that's because the majority of people get hit from behind, and the back bumper is quite expensive. Garages and breakers know that, and so they charge a fortune for it. Same as the rear lights. These are quite expensive, especially the LCI ones. If you're planning to do an LCI conversion, think carefully, because these are really expensive to buy even still for LCI. Same as to buy adaptive xenon headlights. To retrofit, they're really expensive because they know what people are doing, retrofitting them, so they charge a fortune just for them. That's why you've got to work out if it's even worth doing the conversion, because are you ever going to get the money back on the car, providing the mileage, the condition. You got to think of it, and if you're planning to keep the car, it's beneficial for you, but if you're not, don't do them upgrades. The same as the CIC upgrade as well on the car. But like I say, back to the bumper. The bumper is expensive because, as you'll see here, the diffuser, to get this off, you've got to take the rear bumper off, and it's clipped in by rivet clips to get to the new diffuser. You're going to be seeing me do this on my one because I've ordered a carbon fiber one. We have an quad exhaust system coming out. It's going to have another hole here ready for it. We've got a lot coming up for this car. I am going to be doing the LCI conversion again. I'm doing that because I'm planning to keep this car, and it's my car and I can do it. It's not going to cost much to do. But as I said to you guys, if you're planning to buy one of these are things you have to look for on them. You know, the bumpers are really expensive still. Because it's M Sport, you're looking probably about £400 or £500 just for the rear bumper, and I think £300–350 for the front bumper. Again, they don't come with parking sensors, so you've got to configure if it's all your bumpers you need to replace. That's 8 parking sensors you've got to replace. Is it worth it? No, it ain't. Put the original ones back in if you've still got them. Code the system out. It's the best thing you can do, as I said to you, because it's a massive expense and you don't really need it. Hardly anybody uses them. When they do go out, you find a lot of cars with them go out and people don't even care. Like I say, on the body wise, just check the door handles. As I told you, the E39 suffered with a big problem, same as the E53 of the door handles breaking the cable inside the strap. E60 has got a lot better over the years, and they don't really have problems with them anymore. The strap is actually better positioned. When you take off the door card, you'll realize that the door card's really sturdy, and so is the cable strap as well, so they don't usually have that problem. They open with ease. Just be careful you don't pull the handle like this, like many people do, and you lift upwards on them. That will prevent that anyway, it happening. Even though it don't happen, it just prevents it. Again, on the body, make sure you check the side skirts. As you know, these cars, they end up getting whacked or people jack them up the wrong way, so when you go underneath the car, make sure you check all the jacking points clearly, as you'll probably see there. And just make sure you check everywhere for rust or anything, because as you guys probably would have saw from my videos, rust gets on the brake lines on these. It's a common problem. They rust from being exposed from the salt on some roads, and it will fail. So something you've got to be wary of. Like I said, just check all the side skirts, make sure there's no damage, no side damage to arches, because again, the arches like to be fillered. You can see if there's been damage before, and you can check it for filler. And obviously just check your side skirts. Main important thing, because they get jacked up wrong and they crush the underneath. Usually people go and put one of them silly little jacks and it ends up going straight through the floor itself. In the passenger side, a lot of people like to do it. I've seen it many times. People don't know how to jack the car and they jack it completely wrong. They carry one of these little jacks around with them in their boot and put them under the car, don't know where they're doing with them, and just jack up the car the wrong way. Like I say, make sure you check all the tyres on this, because the tyres are crucial, very crucial on these cars. Same with the rims. Tyres will let you know if the car's been looked after immediately as you come and approach it. Brand new tyres on a car means the person, whoever's got it, has got money, because if they can afford to put tyres, they can afford them other components. You know, tyres are an expensive thing on this car. They worked out for me at over £650 for all four. It's a lot of money when you think about it, but they've got lifetime guarantee on them as well, so it's happy days for me. Just make sure you check all the roof as well. If someone's parked it underneath a tree or anything, or they've had any kind of domestic or anything like that, someone will throw stuff onto the roof from their window, so make sure you check there for dents. It's a common problem. I've seen it many times with dents all in the roof everywhere, where people probably chuck stuff on it, or they've sat underneath a tree and it just keeps dropping and denting the roof. Common problem again. You know, make sure you check the shark fin as well. Make sure that ain't wobbling about, you know, because that's crucial for the car. You know, when you come to buy these cars, you don't want to be buying a car that's half cut up and badly damaged. To make sure all your window screen trims are all fine, not leaking water in, and you know, just make sure everything's fine on the body side of things. Like I said, make sure the mirrors ain't faded, everything's like fine, as I told you about them. Make sure all the sills are here for the doors and the windows. Just make sure everything is in place the way it's meant to be. If it's got a spoiler, make sure it's sitting properly, make sure it's been fitted properly, as you see mine one has, so make sure that's been done as well. Fuel cap, make sure that all opens and there's no problems in here. Make sure it's fully functional and it opens and locks when you lock the car as well on the body. There's a lot on the body you have to consider when buying these E60s. Now, I'm not saying that every E60 you go to see is going to be like that, but I would say 40% of them will be like that with all them kind of problems, because people don't replace the parking sensors, because as I said to you, you have to take the bumpers off, especially on the rear. People don't want to have to do that. It's a big job, even though they're cheap. You can buy them £25 Chinese ones. Is it worth doing? Not really, because they don't give you the same parking sensor, the same distance as you can see the whole distance of you parking, like the original BMW one. So is it worth doing it? Not really. If I was you, I would just do straight, just code the parking sensors out and leave the originals in. That's the best thing you can do on these cars to avoid any other future problems that this car might have regarding parking sensors. And it is a common problem. They'll constantly go out. As I said to you, in the US they don't use them, so why do we use them? I hardly ever use mine. I just tell them to beep off. I don't like the sound. It's ridiculous. So it's easy to just code them out, and that's what I've now done on mine. I've coded it out and been done with. Right, so another thing, guys, is the grills. Now, a lot of people change these to black grills. As you'll see, I've done this exact same thing. I don't know if really I'm going to be keeping them. I've been thinking about it, and I think I'm going to change them back to silver again, because it just doesn't suit the car. I believe the silver ones suit it, especially being black and carbon black. It suits it to actually bring out the colour more on this car. So I'm going to put the chrome ones back in. Also, we have got a new headlight coming, because this I can't tolerate. As I said to you, just for a standard headlight, I've had the Xenons, it cost me £80 for a tidy headlight, and that's what I mean. The parts on these are still quite excessive, but you got to understand these cars are still very highly desirable and still being sold regularly, and people still buying them. That's why parts are very high. There's not many of them around. People don't sell them, people don't destroy them, so there's not many in breakers, so parts are on the up because of that reason. It's not like E39, E46, they're the subframe problem, they're common problems, so they're failing. People didn't repair them, just put them in the scrapyard. With the E60, they're quite reliable, so people are keeping them, looking after them. Anyone who usually gets these, especially people our age, usually look after them. People that had them before that, old people who bought them on lease, don't look after them so much. So that's what happens. They don't care about it because they've got money to go and buy another one. But people like us end up looking after them like our pride and joy, and that's why they're not really much in the scrapyards, and that's why they end up being so expensive for parts. Thank you for watching this video, guys. As always, it's BMW Dr. Dean here. I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is the E60 Reliability 2019. If you have liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.